Hello, I'm Ted Jordan, and we're going to do a couple more questions out of my book, and that's on preparing and passing the Linux Plus certification exam. Questions we're going to go over today come out of Chapter 1. They're questions number 41 and 42. The first one has to do with SSH. Let's take a look at this one. To secure the SSHD service running on a Linux system from hackers, it's decided to configure it to listen for SSH requests on a port other than the default of 22. Which directive in the etc ssh sshd _config file can do this? Port, BindAddress, protocol, or tunnel. And so if you want to pause this video, now's the time. And otherwise, the answer for this one is A, port. Let's take a look at the SSHD config file on my Debian system. And let me become root. And again, we use the su space dash because I want to get the profile of superuser as well, not only log in as superuser, but I want their profile. We'll cd to /etc ssh, and we'll see several files here, and the one we're referring to is the sshd _config file. I'll use the VI editor to take a look at this one. Hit tab to spell it out for me. And as you go through this file, you'll see that the defaults are commented out. For example, port 22 is already selected, a listen address, and so on. These are our defaults. And if I want to override this default of port 22, I would uncomment it, and let's say I want to be port 2222, or say 222222. Then I could set that value. Now you got to remember that if I do this, I need to also open that port in my firewall. Otherwise, users won't be able to access it from outside our organization. So then I would save and quit :WQ, escape :WQ, and that would save and quit my changes. Then we will restart the SSH server to listen to that port, systemctl, and then restart SSHD. And then now that'll be listening on port 2222. So if I do a status, and it shows the service is running, and it shows some of the dependencies, and it also shows that it's listening on port 222222. Alright, press Q to quit. I'm going to want to change that back. So again, I just go into the VI editor, press the J key to go down, lowercase j, and then I'll go ahead and just make that back to 22. I'll just put the comment field, the comment back in. This time I'm going to save a :x, escape :x, and then I'll restart SSHD. We'll look at the status, and now we're back to normal. Yay! So that's it for question number 41. BindAddress we could use for a different IP address as well. We could generally you want to keep the TCP protocol, but you could change that to UDP if you need to, but I don't know why. And then if you want to set up an SSH tunnel, you've got this tunneling flag that's available to you within SSHD config as well. If we can take just another quick look inside the file, just to see what other options are here. It shows you where your keys will be kept, how logging will be handled, whether or not you want to permit root login. Generally, most users set that to no. So you have to log in as a regular user, and then you would switch user, use su or sudo, and become root that way. The authorized keys file location, your known host file, whether or not you're going to be using passwords. Yes, you want to use passwords. We've got hooks for Kerberos and for X11 forwarding as well, whether you want a banner. That banner can be helpful, but it can also leave clues for a hacker. It just says, hey, which company the SSH server set up for, might have date and time. You could include information like the IP address if you want, but again, the hackers could look at that as well and get too much information out of it. So usually people say that to none. Okay, so that's it for question number 41. And so now let's take a look at question number 42. You want to write the std out from the ps command, the standard out from the ps command to a file named my processes in the /temp directory without overwriting the existing contents of that file. Which command will do this? You got A, ps less than sign /temp my processes, B, ps greater than sign /temp my processes, C, less than greater than temp my processes, D, ps double greater than temp my processes. Alright, so you can pause here if you like, if you want to try to answer this on your own. Otherwise, the answer to this one is going to be D. D, the double greater than, means append to the file. And the keywords here are without overwriting, because A means to, if this file is a file we can read, it says ps read this file, not write to it. So it's not going to be A. It says we want to send data to the file, and then we want to write to the file. The greater than will work, will write to the file, but it's going to overwrite it. If there's content inside of it, it'll overwrite it. PSC, what this does is it opens this file for input and output. So you get a little bit of A and a little bit of B. And again, not doing what we need, because if there are contents in the file, they'll get overwritten. So ps double greater than will go ahead and write to the file, and it appends data to the end of it. So it's going to keep what was there before and add the new data to the bottom of that. So let's take a quick look and show you how this works. Let me go ahead, let's get out of this one here, :Q exclamation mark, quit without saving changes. And I'll do a clear and get back to my home directory by typing cd. If I do the, let's take a look at the /temp directory. Well, alright, I have a file there called my processes, and here's a file with some data. Please don't overwrite me. So let's run ps double greater than /temp my processes, and now if I view the contents, I still have what I had before, and I've got the additional output of ps, our process status, showing which commands are currently running inside of my shell, and also listing their process IDs. Now if I had done option A, then that's going to overwrite it. Let me show it a little bit differently so we can see some different outputs. I'm going to say, actually I'm going to say ps-f, just so we can see some different output. Hit enter. Now we'll look at the file. Alright, so this is going to overwrite it, and we don't see the last ps, we don't see don't overwrite me, so that's why that one doesn't work. And again, anytime you use a less than sign, that's redirecting standard input. So instead of getting the input from the keyboard, we're getting the input from the file. And ps doesn't read from standard input, so that's not going to work for the ps command. So the less than sign is not going to work in this case. Like it will work with cat. Alright, that's it for questions number 41 and 42. And so hopefully if you got to this far, I hope you learned something here and that it helps you get ready for the exam. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I've got some more videos coming up, and this will be on the Linux Plus and on some of the cybersecurity exams like the CISSP and the CCSP and the Security Plus exam. And so if you have interest in practice questions for other exams, let me know in the comment box below. I'll go ahead, and if I've got skills in those areas, I'll go ahead and put some practice questions up for those as well. If you like the video, make sure you like it. If you don't like the video, press thumbs down twice. Thanks for watching. More videos coming soon.